Good morning, students. Today we shall discuss the electricity relating to chemistry or electrochemistry. Electrochemistry is a part of chemistry where if you know chemistry, you can produce electricity. And in this connection, we shall deal with these points today. First point is types of conductors. Second is conduction of electrolyte, how electrolyte conducts. Third is determination of cell constant to determine the specific conductance, molar conductance. Then we shall discuss some hints on Coulom's law. Coulom's law, the law relating the migration of ions. So you see, regarding the conductors, you know there are three types of substances in our nature. One is conductor, another is non-conductor, and in between them there are semiconductors. So we are not going out of this, we are discussing regarding conductors. So you see, conductors means they are electrical conductors. Conductors in connection to electricity. In connection to electricity, there are thermal conduction also, but we shall deal with electrical conductors. So electrical conductors are of two types. One is electrolytic conductor, or ionic conductor. This is also called ionic conductor. Another is electronic conductor. Electronic, this is electronic, where electrons are responsible. This is ionic, where ions are responsible. So the first difference is, here ions are responsible for carrying the electricity, here electrons are carrying the electricity. This is also termed as metallic conductor. But exception in the metal, you think the case of graphite. Suppose if you are asked what type of graphite conduction, so graphite also electrons are responsible for a conduction. So that is also an electronic conductor. So this is an exceptional graphite, though it is a non-metal, but this is a electronic conductor. Non-metal, it is an electronic conductor. This is the first difference. Here ions are responsible, here electrons are responsible. Second thing is, here chemical decomposition takes place. Chemical decomposition. Here no chemical decomposition. There will maybe change of some physical changes may be there, but the chemical property after conduction. So you take a copper wire, you pass the electricity, then you study the property of copper. The property copper will not be changing. That means the chemical property will not be changing after passage of electricity. But here there will be chemical property changes. So you take the case of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride melt, take in the melting state or molten state, you will be getting sodium ion and chloride ion. Sodium ion, the cation, at cathode. Cathodic reduction takes place. So sodium ion converts into sodium metal. Sodium ion converts into sodium metal. So you see, sodium ion is totally different from sodium metal. Sodium ion will catch fire when added to water, but sodium ion when added to water, there will be no production of it. Similarly, chloride ion, that is at anode, oxidation takes place. So chloride ion converts into chlorine gas plus electron. So here you are getting a gas. You are getting a solid. So here it is in a solution or in a melting state, but here you are getting chlorine gas. The chloride ion is colorless, but chlorine gas is colored. So there will be totally change in the chemical properties by transference of electron. Where one is reduction takes place, another is oxidation takes place. So both you call it. Suppose if I ask what is the reaction takes place when electricity is passed from an electrolyte, you can mention redox reaction. Where redox reaction, this is your plus 1 to 0, that means reduction half. Here minus 1 to 0, that is called half oxidation. Oxidation and reduction are not a full reaction, but the reduction reaction is a complete reaction. Third thing, action of heat, thermal effect on the conduction. Here you see temperature effect, or you can call it temperature effect. On increase of temperature, conductance increases. Conductance increases with increase of temperature. Nearly 2 to 4% there will be increase in the conductance with rise of temperature. So increase of temperature, the ionic mobility increases. As the ionic mobility increases, so conduction also increases. But you see in this case, conductance decreases. Conductance decreases with rise of temperature. You may be asked a question. Where metallic conduction decreases with rise of temperature. You see, in the metals there are kernels. The positive part accept the electron. The kernels are surrounded by electrons, surrounded by sea of electrons or bed of electrons. And when, suppose you see how the resistance comes into play, so that conductance decreases. So these are the kernels. In the metal, these are the kernels regularly arranged at low temperature. The entropy or disorderliness is less, and these are the electrons. Electrons are delocalized electrons. Delocalized low electrons. Delocalized electrons. But these are fixed. Kernels are fixed. Here entropy is less. So when temperature increases, these arrangements become disordered. The arrangement is lost. This becomes disordered. This becomes haphazard. This becomes random. Every random arrangement with increase of temperature, delta S, entropy is positive. S increases. So as it increases, these randomness, with the increase of randomness, these kernels will be randomly arranged. Suppose this kernel comes into this kernel comes into this kernel comes into this. If this is the kernels are haphazardly arranged, then free movement of electron resisted. Movement of electrons is resisted by the disordered kernels. So when the kernels are disordered, they resist the free movement of electrons. As the free electrons are resisted, due to increase of resistance, the conductance decreases. Reciprocal of resistance is conductance. As resistance increases with rise of temperature, so metallic conduction decreases with rise of temperatures due to disorderness by random arrangement of kernels. Now let us see conductance in the electrolytes in solution. Electrolytes are those which conducts electricity, either in solution or in molten state, or you can simply call it melt. So sodium chloride is in the molten state that conducts electricity. Also, it conducts electricity in solutions also, in aqueous solution, in solution or in melt. So these are called electrolytes. And sodium chloride or the salt conducts not in the solid but in solution, and in the not in solid. Remember, not in solid, that is a non-conductor. Solid. So solid, as for example, sodium chloride solid is a non-conductor or insulator. Non-conductor. Why it is called a non-conductor? Because ions are not moving. They are tightly held by strong electrostatic force. Tightly held by strong electrostatic force. Strong electrostatic force. So the ions cannot move. Unless the ion moves, that cannot conduct the electricity. So conduction of electricity is due to movement of ions. Suppose if the medium is more viscous, then naturally the conduction decreases due to the frictional force. The frictional resistance also weakens the conducting power of ions. Suppose you take sodium chloride aqueous solution, you put some glycerol to it. So naturally the viscosity of the solution increases. As the viscosity increases, the conductance decreases. That also you can prove by Walden rule. The lambda into viscosity coefficient is a constant. If the viscosity coefficient increases, the lambda or conductance, lambda, that is molar conductance, decreases. That is called Walden rule. So viscosity also responsible for conduction of electricity through a electrolytic solution. Another is the temperature. If you increase the temperature, the ionic mobility increases. If the mobility of ion increases, naturally there will increase the conductance. So how can you measure all these things? How can you measure the conductance? Different terms involved in this. The most important terms are specific conductance, your equivalent conductance, your molar conductance. So how can you find the relationship in connection of this in order to put forth the conducting power of a solution? So you see, you know an important relationship. Resistance is directly proportional to length and inversely proportional to area of cross section. L is the length of the conductor. A is the area of cross section. So you see, this is the area of cross section and this is the length. Greater is the length, greater is the resistance, and greater is the area of cross section, or greater is the area of cross section or circumference. In this case, in the cylindrical case, greater is the what? Or less is the resistance. So resistance is inversely proportional to area of cross section and directly proportional to length. So if you put a proportionality constant, R is equal to rho L by A. Remember this. R is equal to rho L by A, and the proportionality constant rho is called specific resistance. So rho is equal to, that is equal to A by A, RA by A. Resistance into area of cross section by A. So reciprocal of specific resistance is equal to specific conductance, or that is nowadays it is popularly known as in one word, that is called specific, or simply you can call it conductivity. So if is anything the word in the problem, it is asked conductivity, then you can very well know that is what specific conductance. What is specific there? Specific there means area to be specified, length to be specified. So 1 by rho is equal to 1 by R into L L by A, 1 by R into L by A, 1 by R. So 1 by rho is known as kappa, small kappa, K-A-P-P. Kappa is equal to 1 by R, L by A. 1 by R is equal to conductance. Conductance is represented as G. G is equal to, you remember, G is equal to 1 by R. So G is called conductance, and L by A in liquid solution or electrolyte, L by A is called cell constant. It's called cell constant, is represented by G star. So remember this is your problem calculation. You remember specific conductance. In the bracket you write down conductivity. Conductivity of a solution is equal to cell constant into conductance. Cell constant into conductance, or that is equal to cell constant divided by cell constant conductance by 1 by R, that is equal to resistance. Cell constant by resistance. You remember this, that is your specific conductance. Understand? So cell constant, how can you imagine the conceive cell constant? You can conceive the cell constant like that. That means if you take a cell, because the measurement of conductance of a solution, you have to take a cell. Cell must be, that is your cell consists of these things. One is your vessel, a glass vessel, suppose of this type, a glass vessel. This is your conductivity cell. Conductivity cell, from which you have to take the solution and measure the conductance. Conductivity cell, in which the cell is your cell constant as well as specific conductance can be measured. So in this, what is there? There are two electrodes or platinum plates connected by platinum wire. This is a platinum plate coated with platinum black, a colloidal platinum, platinum black, a colloidal platinum, colloidal platinum. Platinum is very dazzling metal, but colloidal platinum is black. So platinum black or colloidal platinum is coated. You take another electrode that is also coated with the platinum black. So if this is say area of cross section is a centimeter square, and they are kept apart at L centimeter. So that is the cell in which you are desiring the plates of area of cross sections a centimeter square, and they are put apart a length of L centimeter. Then you see, when it will come to specific conductance, let us specify A to be 1 centimeter square is the specification for which it is called specific conductance or conductivity. So A 1 centimeter square and L is equal to 1 centimeter. So you put this is 1 centimeter, you put this 1 centimeter square. That means 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. Length 1 centimeter, breadth 1 centimeter. So the area will be 1 centimeter square. Centimeter into centimeter, that is the centimeter square. So they are put apart at a distance of 1 centimeter apart. So if this is the case and this is dipped inside a solution, the solution is called electrolyte. Dipped inside the solution, and this is put to Wheatstone's bridge. Let me put in the determination as I discussed. So in order to make the resistance and the conductance, then that conductance will be called what? That conductance will be called specific conductance. So remember the definition of specific conductance. That means you have to specify the area to be 1 centimeter square and distance to be 1 centimeter. So this solution within this, if this is 1 centimeter square and the distance is 1 centimeter, then that will look like a cube. And in this you will get a solution. In this you will get a solution of what? 1 centimeter cube. Because this is 1 centimeter square, this is 1 centimeter square into centimeter, that will be 1 centimeter cube, or simply you call cube centimeter, 1 cc. So the conducting power of all the ions present in 1 cc at a given temperature is called specific conductance. Because what you specify there, you specify area to be 1 centimeter square, length to be 1 centimeter, and the solution to be 1 centimeter cube, then that is called what? Your conductivity. So conductivity, this conductivity or specific conductance, conductivity is defined as the conducting power of all the ions, present in 1 centimeter cube or 1 cc solution. Or simply you call it conductance of K is equal to conductance or conducting power of 1 cc solution at a given temperature. You have to mention the temperature, because the conductance or specific conductance depends on temperature. If you increase the temperature, the specific conductance increases due to greater increase in the migration or mobility of ions. If the ion will quickly move, naturally the conducting power will increase. So conductance of 1 cc solution, simply call it conductance of 1 cc solution, is called your specific conductance. Then how can you measure? Next you write down measurement of specific conductance. How can you measure the specific conductance in unknown solution? Measurement of kappa. Measurement of kappa or specific conductance or conductivity of experimental solution. That means today suppose you are giving 3 water samples, you are asked to find out the specific conductance. How can you measure it? Kappa of experimental solution. The solution what is given to you, these are experimental solution. So how can you measure the conductance of the solution? Specific conductance of the solution. The first thing you have to measure what? You have to measure the Serre constant. Serre constant of the conductivity cell. So how can you measure the Serre constant or G star? How can you measure? So for this measurement, first you inside you put say the specific conductance of a known solution. Inside this, in the cell, specific conductance or a solution of known specific conductance. A solution say 0.1 molar KCl. That is generally you take. A solution for which the specific conductance is known, recorded in your textbook. In Serre, a solution of 0.1 molar specific conductance known. That is say the specific conductance say 0.10129 centimeter specific conductance, centimeter inverse, ohm inverse, centimeter inverse, ohm inverse, 0.0129 ohm inverse centimeter. That is the unit of specific conductance. So this solution is kept inside. This solution is made in conductivity water. Remember, in which the conductance solution is prepared, for which you have to measure the conductance. That is called conductivity water. That means the solution in which you are preparing, the solvent must have very low conducting power. So potassium chloride 0.01, this is the known. Then you measure what? Then you measure the resistance. Then you measure the resistance of the solution. Second part. Second part, you measure the resistance. Measure the resistance of the solution. Measure the resistance of the solution. So you see, that means this the specific conductance is known. You measure the resistance. Resistance you measure in the principle of Wheatstone's bridge. Wheatstone bridge. So by this principle of Wheeler bridge, you can measure the resistance. That means you see, say this is the case, this is the case. This is say R1, R2, R3, R4. This is a galvanometer. This is connected, see, at this R1, let us say, you put this cell. Here there is cell. So you see, by this, when there will be null deflection, this is connected to a battery. When there is null deflection in the galvanometer, null deflection. When there is null deflection, then you measure the conductance of these are given, only the resistance unknown. This resistance is known, this is known, this is known. So R1 by R2, you know what formula is? R1 by R2 is equal to R3 by R4. So from this, you can know the R1. So R1 is equal to R2 into R3, this into this by R4. So by this Wheatstone's measurement balancing formula, we can measure the resistance of this cell. Then how can you measure the cell constant? Third is the cell constant. How can you measure the cell constant? Then the cell constant can be measured like this. You see, you know specific conductance is equal to cell constant into conductance or by resistance. So you see, so cell constant by resistance. So cell constant G star is equal to specific conductance into resistance. Here resistance is what? R1 into resistance R1. So R1 is known from the Wheatstone's bridge. R1 is known, and kappa for 0.1 molar KCl. 0.1 molar KCl is equal to 0.0129 centimeter inverse. So this is that kappa is known, this is known, resistance is measured, this is measured, this is known, from the text is the experimentally known, already known, this is experimentally measured. So by this you can know the cell constant of the cell. So you see, by valuing any cell whatever given, the cell constant is written on that cell, but you have to measure the cell constant. After knowing the cell constant, you can know the specific conductance of any unknown solution. Fourth point you write down, how can you know the specific conductance of or conductivity of unknown solution or experimental solution. So you see, fourth point, you know the specific conductance of experimental solution. What is given to you, to measure the specific conductance. So the specific conductance is equal to cell constant into conductance. or by resistance. So self constant already measured in the above steps, already measured in above steps, 1, 2, 3, in above steps already measures, and conductance you measure, or resistance, conductance or resistance, you measure resistance measured in the principle of, what? Principle of Wheatstone's bridge. Wheatstone's bridge. When there is balance in the no deflection in the capacitor, no current is passed, then that arms are balanced, that is your R1 by R2 equal to R3 by R4. So by this you can very well measure the specific conductance of any solution. Specific conductance of any solution. You can measure specific conductance of any solution. So remember, when you go into any laboratory to measure the specific conductance, molar conductance, etc., your cell is given and you have to measure, even if there is a mention of cell constant on the cell, but you have to measure the cell constant with taking the reference of 0.1 molar potassium chloride, the specific conductance of which is known. Then by this formula, specific conductance is equal to cell constant into conductance G into G star, or cell constant divided by resistance will give you the specific conductance of any unknown solution. Any unknown solution you can measure. And knowing this specific conductance, you can very well predict whether the solution is conducting, whether the solution is not conducting. If it is conducting, you can measure the percentage of ion in it by measuring the specific conductance. Greater is the conducting power, greater is the number of ions present in it. If it does not conduct electricity, then you can very well tell that solution must be a non-electrolyte. Non-electrolyte means, suppose glucose, your urea, your sucrose, any carbohydrate, you remember, these are non-electrolyte. So whether the solution contains an electrolyte or non-electrolyte, you can very well predict by measuring the specific conductance. So conducting power will tell you whether the solution contains will present ion or not. If that is a strong electrolyte, the specific conductance will be more. As for example, sodium chloride, hydrochloric acid. If it is a weak electrolyte like acetic acid, ammonium hydroxide, then naturally the conductance will be less. So knowing the conductance, also you can predict the percentage of ionization or degree of ionization. You can measure. Then let us another definition. This is your specific conductance, G into G star. Unit of, suppose if you are asked, unit of cell constant, L by A, that is your cell constant. Length and distance. Length means distance. Length, this is the length and area of cross section. So length is centimeter divided by centimeter square. So remember, centimeter inverse or meter inverse will be the unit of cell constant. Will be unit of cell constant. Remember, this is the unit of cell constant. And conductance is the reciprocal of ohm, that is called ohm inverse or Simon. Simon is also called Simon. So conductance is equal to 1 by R, R is the ohm, so this is ohm inverse. So specific conductance, unit will be specific conductance is equal to cell constant into conductance. That is cell constant is ohm centimeter inverse or ohm inverse centimeter inverse. Cell constant is centimeter inverse. This is ohm inverse. Or you can write down ohm inverse centimeter inverse or Sine and centimeter inverse or meter inverse. Also you can express in meter inverse. So this is the unit of specific conductance. Then you come to molar conductance or molar conductivity. Then it comes to molar conductivity. Molar conductivity. Molar conductivity. That is lambda m. Lambda m is the molar conductivity. The molar conductivity you can predict like this. This is the conducting power of all the ions present in a solution containing, restriction is this, containing 1 mole or gram mole of electrolyte. 1 mole of electrolyte in a cell. So suppose in a cell placed where electrode placed in a cell, electrode placed at a distance of 1 centimeter, with sufficient length to hold the electrolyte. Suppose if it is VCC solution, that means the electrode, suppose for VCC solution, you can imagine like this, for VCC or centimeter cube solution, if the distance is 1 centimeter, if they are kept at a distance of 1 centimeter, then this length will be V centimeter. So V centimeter, the distance is 1 centimeter, so that will be solution will be V centimeter cube. And if it contains 1 mole, one mole of sodium chloride means 1 mole of sodium ion, 1 mole of chloride ion. If it consists of 1 mole of electrolyte having cations and anions, that this conductance of V centimeter cube solution present at a distance of 1 centimeter apart will be your molar conductance. So simply you can tell molar conductivity is the conducting power of all the ions in an electrolytic solution, which must have to contain, that is the restriction, which must have to contain 1 mole of electrolyte or 1 gram mole of electrolyte. Suppose if you are expressing gram equivalent, in some cases equivalent mass will be equal to the molecular mass, as in case of sodium chloride. But if you take sodium carbonate, the molecular mass is twice that of equivalent mass. In case of sulfuric acid, the molecular mass is twice that of your equivalent mass. So there is not identical case in case of your some of the cases of electrolytes, molecular mass is not equal to the equivalent mass. If it contains 1 gram equivalent, it should be is equal to, that is expressed as lambda equivalent or equivalent conductance. But nowadays we mostly depend on molar conductance, not the equivalent conductance. And equivalent conductance, suppose sulfuric acid, suppose 1 gram equivalent is equal to, sulfuric acid is 49 gram per equivalent. Similarly, 1 is equal to, if you take 98 gram, that is called 1 gram mole. That is 98 gram. That is 98 gram per what? Per liter. 49 gram is 1 gram equivalent is equal to 49 gram. Here 1 liter contains 98 gram or 1 mole, that is called 1 molar solution. So, conducting power part of this 1 molar solution, you can call it molar conductivity. So, the volume may vary, but that volume must have to contain your 1 mole. If it is molar conductance, if it is containing 1 gram equivalent, it is called equivalent conductance. So, you see, how can you relate? Let us find a relationship between molar conductivity and specific conductivity. Specific conductivity. Specific conductivity, I write it kappa. Molar conductivity, I write it lambda m. So, you see, how can you relate? Let us take V centimeter cube or VCC solution. VCC solution. You know the specific conductivity definition is the conducting power of 1 cc solution. So, conducting power of 1 cc or centimeter cube solution is equal to kappa. Kappa ohm inverse centimeter inverse, that is the conducting power. But here you are taking how much solution? You are taking V centimeter cube solution. So, conducting power of VCC solution is equal to kappa into V, kappa into V. But this kappa into V is, by the definition of molar conductivity, we call it molar conductance, because VCC as VCC solution contains 1 mole of electrolyte, 1 mole of electrolyte, then this is called molar conductivity. This is called molar conductivity. So, lambda m is equal to kappa into V, provided the VCC must contain what? Must contain 1 mole of electrolyte, 1 mole of electrolyte. So, this is the relationship between your molar conductivity and specific conductivity. But you cannot take always some cc of solution that contains 1 mole. Let us take molarity of the solution, your C molar. Let us take C molar solution. C molar solution means C mole of electrolyte per liter. If 1 liter contains C mole, that is C molar solution. If 1 liter contains 1 mole, that is called 1 molar solution. So, if you take C molar solution, that means C mole present in 1 liter or 1000 cc. But your VCC contains what? VCC contains 1 mole. VCC contains 1 mole. So, 1 mole must have to present in 1000 by CCC. So, C the molarity of the solution. So, 1000 by C will be the volume of the solution. So, instead of putting V in the calculation, for problem purposes you remember this, lambda m is equal to kappa 1000 by C. You remember this equation from problem purposes, where C is the, what is C? C is the molarity of the solution. Molarity of the solution in unit will be moles per liter. Molarity of the solution. Then you can find out the unit of lambda m or molar conductance. If it is normally, if it is expressed in normality, then you can call it lambda equivalent or equivalent conductance. So, unit of lambda m, kappa is your ohm inverse centimeter inverse, 1000 is the centimeter cube per liter, that is the unit. 1 liter is equal to 1000 cc. So, that is centimeter cube per liter, divided by C is the moles per liter. C is the moles per liter. So, that you can find out the unit. So, unit is something, that means that is the conductance. The unit will be ohm inverse or mho, or Siemens ohm inverse centimeter square per mole or mole inverse. So remember, this is the unit of lambda m. Ohm inverse centimeter square or meter square mole inverse. You can put in also SI unit in the meter square. So this is all regarding the specific conductance, your equivalent conductance and molar conductance. Then let me tell you the limiting conductance in a solution. That is the conductance, the maximum conductance. The maximum conductance will be obtained when concentration of the solution tends to 0 or very dilute solution or infinitely dilute solution. The conductance does not increase, but that will remain constant. So if you put a graph between lambda or molar conductance versus square root of concentration, for strong electrolyte, the conductance increases. This is a point, this is a point, this is a point, this is a point. If you join the conductance, that will be a linear plot, and if you extrapolate it, when concentration tends to 0, concentration to 0 means there will be infinite dilution, then this comes to, this touch the lambda axis, and this will be at a given temperature. At a given temperature, this is fixed. This never changes. If you temperature change for a particular electrolyte, this is a constant, and that is represented as lambda 0 m, or molar conductivity at infinite dilution, that is constant for a given electrolyte. For electrolyte to electrolyte, it will change. Then comes your ionic conductance, you see, that is another law is there, Coulomb's law. So as time is just approaching, so I am telling in brief how the molar conductance is related to ionic conductance, that is the conducting power of the constituting ions. So lambda 0 m is the lambda 0 cation plus lambda 0 anion. You remember, this lambda is represented for your ionic conductivity and this is represented for molar conductance. As for example, suppose as for example, lambda 0 m for potassium chloride, at infinite dilution, your dissociation is complete. There is no associated molecules, all will be dissociated into ions. So lambda 0 m will be lambda 0 K plus lambda 0 Cl minus, remember. But if you say, suppose if you are asked to find out the lambda 0 m of aluminium sulfate, how can you find out? So here aluminium sulfate is a 3,2 electrolyte. The valence is 3, this valence is 2, that is 3,2 electrolyte. Potassium chloride, that is called 1,1 electrolyte. Potassium has valency 1, your anion has also valency 1, that is called 1,1 electrolyte. This is called 3,2 electrolyte, and that is on dissociation, that is 2 moles of aluminium 3 plus and 3 moles of sulfate 2 minus. So if it is represented like this, then the conducting power of the 2 moles of lambda 0 Al3 plus 3 moles of lambda 0 sulfate ion. You can find out like this, and the ionic, if you are asked to find out the equivalent conductance will be reduced by 1/6 of that, but the molar conductance will be more because molarity of aluminum sulfate is 6 times the equivalent mass of aluminum sulfate. So naturally the equivalent conductance will decrease. Very interesting observation in the Coulomb's law you will find out, that is the each ion, suppose you take potassium chloride, say take potassium bromide, say potassium nitrate. So whatever potassium salt you have taken, the observation is found that in each case the ion, potassium ion contribution towards the molar conductance is always fixed. That is your Coulomb's law. That means each ion contributing a definite quantity or specific or fixed amount of conductance towards the conductance of the electrolyte. So, that is the most important observation from Collard's law. That means potassium ion, whatever it is associated with chloride or bromide or nitrate or sulphate or phosphate, whatever may be the other types of ion association, the potassium ion contribution will be fixed. Similar thing, suppose you take the case of chloride, you take potassium chloride, you take sodium chloride, you take barium chloride, whatever chloride you take, the chloride ion contribution, that means lambda 0 Cl minus will be fixed. Whether it is associated with the potassium, whether it is associated with sodium, whether it is associated with barium or whatever may be the other type of cation, the chloride anion or chloride ion has a contribution is fixed. And that is the reason why the ionic conductance, sum of the ionic conductance is equal to the molar conductance. And this is how the Collas, just simply studying the molar conductance of different electrolyte, he finds that a law, that means each ion has a definite contribution towards the molar conductance of the electrolyte. So, this is what about we shall conclude all the things, that means we are discussing regarding the what is conductance, what are the types of conductance, and we shall discuss how the conductance is measured, how the molar conductance is measured, and how the unit of molar conductance, equivalent conductance, all the units, and how this is related to Collard's law, and how the contribution of each ion is fixed irrespective of their association with other type of ions. And at infinite dilution, that is all molecules, whether it is strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte, all the ions will be, the molecules will be dissociated into ions, and the dissociation is complete, is found at infinite dilution. And that is your Collard's finding, that means each ion contribution will be fixed. On this basis, you will be doing also some problems are there, understand. But if you consider in the weak electrolyte, the plot will not be linear. For weak electrolyte, suppose you take the case of acetic acid, that you cannot find out by this lambda root C plot, the point will be just like this curve, this is acetic acid. This is a linear plot, but this is for weak electrolyte, because dissociation is not uniform. So, for weak electrolyte, we will find for different, not as in case of strong electrolyte. So, from the plot we can find out whether it is a strong electrolyte or a weak electrolyte. From the lambda versus root C plot, we can find out whether it is a strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte. Thank you all of you for your patient hearing.